right, men, welcome to today's episode of Strong Men, Strong Marriages. How to stop having the same fights over and over. So if you feel like, man, we just keep having these issues, they never seem to get resolved, or maybe you don't even bring them up, but you're just kind of bugged by something for a long time. Okay, if that's going on, we're going to talk about how to get out of that today. My name is Mike Frazier, MD, and I help high-achieving Christian men have more intimate marriages. And I'm a psychiatrist and a marriage coach. So wins from some guys this week in my program, Strong Men, Strong Marriages. So guys, they're having truly honest and intimate conversations, stuff that hadn't been talked about for a long time, but now they are starting to have these conversations and really get to know each other at a deep level. Sometimes it's tough to have these conversations. Sometimes you're going to hear stuff you didn't want to hear, or you're going to say stuff that maybe your wife doesn't want to hear. But that's the price of a real intimate marriage. You have to be courageous, right? So guys are doing that, and they're creating great intimacy because of that. Guys are going on fun dates together. A lot of the guys that come to me, they say, man, Mike, I just wish we could start having fun again. Our marriage just doesn't sound fun. It's not fun. And guys are coming in and they're creating that fun again. It's really great to see. Guys are being much less defensive with their wives. Okay, this is a very common problem that I see that guys have is their wife will bring something up. Guys get defensive. Oh, well, it wasn't really that way, or, that kind of thing. Another really cool thing that's happening, guys, that are improving other family relationships with these tools. So, because look, when you learn how to really communicate well, when you learn how to build trust, right? When you learn to have difficult conversations, what that's going to do is let you have great relationships with parents, in-laws, people at work, everywhere, right? When you learn these tools. Guys are having increased integrity, including sexual integrity. So a lot of guys come in, they have issues with pornography. They're overcoming these using these tools, right? They're not going back to those issues. It's amazing. One of my favorite ones was the guy said his wife is in disbelief of the changes that she's seen. It's like too good to be true. She can't believe it. Like even there, this guy's kind of like running the therapy sessions with their couples therapist because he just knows how to do this stuff now. And it's just amazing. It's just so fun to see these guys making these changes and enjoying their time with their wives. And yeah, just I love seeing those ones, that people are in disbelief of these changes. So cool. So guys, they're having prayers with their children. Okay. A big part of the program is building up that spiritual strength. And guys are being able to do that, be that good example to their kids and saying those prayers together and building those relationships. Super cool to see. For me this week, we had a great Easter together as a family. I was just really appreciative of my wife and what she did for us. She always does a good job getting Easter stuff ready, making it really fun for the kids. We did Easter egg hunts, and she had baskets ready and all that. And it was just a really, really fun day. And it's kind of a hard day for her, so it's extra special that she puts in that effort. It's really appreciative of her. So right now, you're kind of having these same fights over and over, right? So maybe you're trying to have these tough conversations about money or sex or in-laws or parenting or religion or housework or how you spend your free time. Okay. So, you're having those conversations, they just seem to go nowhere, right? You talk about money, you want to have that more of a budget, but you never seem to get anywhere with that. You want to have sex more, but you never seem to get anywhere. With in-laws, it seems to be the same issues always. With parenting, same problems. You just are never moving anywhere. With religion, all of that. So maybe your wife is bringing up your past mistakes. Okay, maybe she's bringing up that you looked at pornography, or you had an affair, or you just hadn't prioritized her over time, or you get too defensive, or whatever. And she seems to be bringing that up a lot. Or your wife's just bringing up her hurt. Yeah, you did that. It hurt me. Okay, I don't know if I can trust you again. I don't know if I can move forward. Okay, maybe she's saying that, and you're just frustrated that she keeps bringing that up. Or maybe you're bringing up your hurt. Maybe your wife was unfaithful to you, right? And you're just having a hard time processing that. And so you keep bringing it up with her, and maybe she's the one getting defensive, and it just seems to go nowhere. You just bring up these things and have the same fights, and nothing seems to happen. Okay. One thing that can be useful to look at is, so Sue Johnson, she's a very famous couples therapist. She has created emotionally focused therapy, which is an effective therapy. She pointed out some different fighting patterns that people tend to have, and it's really based on your response to stress or like perceived threat. And so usually it's fight or flight, right? There's also freeze or fawn, which are, other ones that you can have. But we're going to look mainly at fight or flight for these patterns because that's how it kind of plays out. So if you and your wife are having an argument and you're geared more towards fight, okay, you're going to be the one that's trying to have the conversation. You want to bring it up. You want to get it solved right now. A lot of high achieving guys kind of fall into that camp where they just want to fix the problem, right? And even if their wife's not ready to talk about it, they just want to go talk about it. This was definitely me for a lot of our marriage. I would literally chase my wife around the house trying to have conversations when she's just trying to get away and not ready to have it right then. But my fear was, well, if we don't have it, we're never going to talk about it. But we were in this negative pattern where we just kept doing that over and over. Okay. So maybe that's you. And then you can also be geared more towards flight, where if you have that conversation, you just don't want to have it. You want to get away, you want to end it. That can also be kind of a freeze response. Maybe just like stop talking because you don't want to make things worse in the moment. So if you and your wife are both geared toward fight, okay, so you can have fight versus fight, where you are yelling, you're screaming, you're getting really mad at each other. Okay, so it could look something like that. If you're more fight versus flight, this is the most common pairing. Okay, one of you will be geared more towards fight, one more towards flight. So one person's trying to have the conversation, the other person's trying to pull away, and it's just this cycle of trying to have these conversations that never happen, or your wife's just not interested in having it. She pulls away. Okay. And then there's also flight versus flight, and in this case, you just never bring anything up. Nobody brings anything up. You just have this distance between you, and don't know how to really start any conversations. It just feels very separate, very distant. So kind of hearing those, which one are you? Are you geared more towards fight? Are you the one that kind of likes to have the conversations? Or are you geared more towards flight? Do you shy away from those conversations more? It's really important to just know that about yourself. Which one am I? And how do I what's natural to me, right? So the problem is it doesn't work, right? It doesn't work when you try to have conversations when you're emotionally activated, because you're going to be geared more towards trying to fight or trying to run away and not have the conversation. So when you're emotionally activated, your thinking brain really is not online. The blood flow goes away from from that part of your brain. Your problem solving isn't really good. You are geared towards fight or flight. You're getting ready to fight something or run away from something. Okay, so you're in trouble. You're not going to be able to have a productive conversation when your body is in that fight or flight mode. So what often happens is you just replay these same scenarios over and over because that thinking brain is online. You can't think of a new way out of it when you're emotionally activated. You also don't really have the skills to deal with it. Okay, you don't have the skills to calm yourself down. You don't have the skills to have these conversations. Okay. You also get defensive a lot of times if especially if your wife's bringing up past stuff. Your default may be to get defensive, say, well, here's why I did that, or, well, you're not so perfect either, and kind of turn it around on her. It also turns into a sort of tug of war situation. So, let's say it's about money, and you're like, we need to save more, and she's like, well, we need to, enjoy our life, and you guys both just dig in more and more. You're pulling, and it's just this fight, right? It's a tug of war. Nobody's getting anywhere. You're just stuck. So what do you do instead? What's the process? So I teach this in my program, and it's from the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. This is it. Okay. What you need to do to stop having these conversations over and over, stop having the same fights over and over, is step 1 is seek first to understand. Really try to understand where your wife's coming from. Okay, so if it's about money, if she's saying, well, we need to spend money so we can enjoy our life, and in your mind, you're like, that's so stupid. Like, we have to save money so we can actually enjoy our life when I'm not working anymore, right? Or when we're not working anymore. But instead of doing that, right, listening and trying to prove her wrong, what you need to do is think to yourself, okay, why would an intelligent woman think and feel this way, and really try to get into her shoes, really try to understand, hey, does she have a point here? Is it true? Should we enjoy our life some more? Maybe she's right. Maybe there's something that I'm missing here. What can I understand? Okay? So when you do this, and this is again a term from 7 Habits, you give her that psychological air. Okay? When your wife doesn't feel understood by you, she's going to keep on digging in. She's going to keep on trying to explain to you her position, or she's just going to give up, right? But not be on your side, or not, you won't be on the same side. You won't be working together. Okay, she's going to pull away and continue to feel misunderstood. You're going to continue to feel misunderstood. But when you give her this psychological air, okay, she can kind of breathe, right? She's not going to dig into her position when she's like, hey, we need to enjoy our lives. We need to spend some of the money to have good, fun family experiences. And you, instead of responding, well, that's stupid and we have to save for retirement, when you respond, I think that makes sense. I think what you're saying is uh, we only have a certain amount of life to live. We want to have good experiences to look back on. Life's more full when we have good experiences together and as a family. And I think that makes sense. So when you really give her that psychological air, okay, you understand her. Now, in this case, maybe you agree with her, but maybe you don't even necessarily agree with that, but you can just at least try to understand it. Like, okay, yeah, I can see how someone could want to really enjoy time right now and create good memories now. It makes sense. It makes sense why someone would think that, even if you don't totally agree with it. Now, look, when you can agree with her, that's better. And a lot of times when you really do understand your wife's perspective, you probably will agree with it. Because, look, she's a smart woman. If you're a high achieving smart man, you attracted a high achieving smart woman. That's how it goes. So trust that. Trust that she's an intelligent, accomplished woman that has opinions that make sense. Okay. Instead of thinking she's dumb or whatever. So get into her shoes, try to understand her. Okay. Again, you don't have to agree with her, but you do need to try to understand. And often when you do deeply understand her, you may find that you agree with a decent amount of what she says. So agree where you can, right? And this is what I call dropping the rope. So again, if you're having that conversation, we need to save for retirement. And she's like, no, we need to go on vacation. Instead of continuing to pull so hard, right? You drop the rope and you say, hey, you know what? I think you're right. It does make sense to spend some money on experiences now. Yeah, you're right. Nobody knows how long we're going to even be around, right? So let's enjoy some of what we have right now. Okay, that's dropping the rope. And now she doesn't need to pull so hard on her side, okay, because the rope's on the ground. If she keeps pulling, she's just going to kind of fall down. And so agree where you can, right? That's dropping the rope. That's just agreeing with her where you can agree with her. Okay, and it works. It works really well because, again, it gives her psychological air. There's nowhere to pull. The conflict kind of goes away. The thinking brain can come back online, all of that, right? The other thing to understand, if she's bringing up the past a lot, is this idea of draining the wound. So if she's bringing up, man, you just hurt me, you hurt me so bad, and you're like, geez, I can't even listen to this anymore. I'm so upset by it. Just understand that's her draining out the wound. Okay, you hurt her. She needs to express her pain a lot of times, and she needs to have you really try to understand it, not tell her, oh, that's dumb, and let's move past it. Which is kind of like trying to put a bandage on an infected wound. Instead, you need to really let her get that out, try to understand where she's coming from. Okay. Again, that's giving her, in a way, that psychological air, that understanding that she's looking for. Also, remember, if you're geared more towards fight, don't chase her around. Right? Don't chase her around the room trying to have these conversations. We need to talk. Right? Set a time to talk. Hey, can we talk about this time? She's like, I don't want to. You're like, well, we do. These are important issues, and I promise you I'm going to try to understand where you're coming from first instead of trying to prove my point like I usually do. I really understand where you're coming from. Even that, that'll kind of set the stage of you going a different direction than trying to push it and prove yourself right and all of that. Now, if you tend to be the one that shies away from it, you can say, hey, listen, I know a lot of times I try to run away when you're trying to have these conversations about money and, this vacation coming up. So look, I need to get myself ready for that emotionally first. So let's choose a time to do it. I'll make sure I'm in a calm place and let's talk tomorrow evening. Okay. Just doing that, you're going to show, wow, this is different, and she's going to be more ready and open to talk to you. So in the moment, if you feel yourself getting activated, take some deep breaths. Okay, that's a powerful way to bring your thinking brain back online, to calm down your fight or flight response. If you do need to walk away, go ahead and walk away. Because remember, the highly activated brain, the fight or flight brain, you're not going to be able to really get into her shoes, seek first to understand, try to get to win-win. You just won't be able to. Okay, so if you need to get away, calm yourself down. Okay. Also, don't walk on eggshells. You need to bring up what needs to be brought up. So if you are having issues with money, right, you don't like the way it's being spent, you need to have the balls, the strength, the courage to just bring that up. Say, hey, we need to have a conversation about this. I want to understand your perspective first, and I also need to help us get to something that really works for both of us, because right now it's not working for me and it needs to work for both of us. Okay, that's a strong way to bring something up. And then when you bring it up, so this concept of ethos, pathos, logos. So this is a Greek thing. So ethos is like being a man of integrity, showing that you're a guy who can be trusted and that cares about her. Okay, so you have to kind of set that baseline. And then there's pathos, which is understanding her. Okay, here's why I think you're saying that we should spend money on this vacation. Again, seek first to understand, right? And then logos. Okay, explain your side. Seek to be understood. Here's why I think we need to save more for retirement. And here's my plan. Having a specific plan is a big deal. So I want to save 15%, 20% of all our money. But also let's create an account that's for, vacations, to make sure we're doing that too. Because I agree, we need to do both. And she'll probably agree with that too, if you follow this format. If you're like, no, you're dumb and we should never spend that, we need to just save a lot more, it's not going to go anywhere, right? Understand her first. So here's why doing this works. To have these win-win conversations, you need to have a cooler head. If you're activated, if you're emotionally activated, you won't be able to do this. So seeking first to understand, it builds the trust necessary to have good communication. Okay, when you can manage your emotions well enough to really get into her shoes and understand her and show you care, all right, you're off to a great start, because now she feels safe. She feels safer with you. Also, being able to have the conversation shows strength. If you are running away from having these conversations all the time, that's not strong and that's not attractive. If you feel like you're losing all the time in your marriage, that's not a good place to be for you or for her. Okay? She's not attracted to a guy. This idea of a happy wife, happy life, well, I just have to do whatever she wants and then, she'll finally love me or be attracted to me. It's not how it goes. Okay? You need to be strong. You need to be willing to have tough conversations. And you need to be willing to try to understand her. It's both. A lot of guys, I talked to a guy the other day who was really worried about doing this program because he felt like, if I do this, I'm just going to turn into this weak guy that, just does whatever his wife wants. It's not that, right? He tended more towards the fight, the proving himself right kind of thing. And it's not that you forget who you are or that you just do everything that your wife wants you to do. That's not strong either. It's finding this balance of really understanding her and expressing yourself. It's both. It's and, not or. Okay? You can be strong and attractive. You can be loving and strong. Okay? You can understand her and express yourself and get to win-win. Okay, that's what we're talking about here, having that balance where you're both part of the marriage and you're both enjoying the marriage. Okay, that's what we're going for. So doing this, it lets you get to win-win, right? A marriage where you both feel like you're winning, where you're both enjoying it. And it's amazing. It's the kind of marriage you want. It's the kind of marriage you want your kids to have. And you can get there. But you need certain strengths and skills to get there. So one is having outstanding emotional strength and intelligence, managing your emotions well, being able to identify them, being able to get into your wife's emotions well. A lot of guys don't have that skill, but we learn how to do that really well with some simple steps and practicing them in my program, Strong Men, Strong Marriages. You need to have a really good understanding of your own thoughts and emotions, which again, a lot of guys don't have a great way to do that. We use a very specific tool, a model called the mental strength model that helps you learn how to do this. And you practice it every day until you get really good at managing your own thoughts and emotions. You need a solid sense of self-esteem, which some guys struggle with. Right? Some guys struggle with that self-confidence to be able to have these conversations. So we need to have enough belief in ourselves and belief in our own value to ask for what we want and work towards it. Okay, get to win-win. You need to be able to manage your emotions in the moment. because when you're having these tough conversations, you're probably going to feel angry or defensive or whatever, anxious. So you need to be able to deal with those emotions well. And we learn how to do that in our program. You need to be able to get to these win-win agreements, follow all these steps. Okay. It's totally doable. You need to have the courage to bring up difficult issues, ask for what you want, make requests, and also set boundaries. Decide what you'll do if your requests aren't met. Okay. So those are the strengths and skills you need. And we learn exactly how to do them in a very structured way in my program, Strong Men, Strong Marriages. Like we talked about at the beginning, guys are getting amazing results every day by applying these principles. And I'd love to have you come join us. So if that sounds interesting to you, visit strongmenstrongmarriages.com. You'll fill out an application, then we'll get back to you with your next steps. So again, that's strongmenstrongmarriages.com. Head there, fill out an application, and we'll get back to you with the next steps. All right, men, stay strong. We will see you next episode.